The Vertus Praetors are the most feared unit from the Custodes army. They're fast, they have amazing shooting, and they can kill anything in combat. They're also a lot of points, and they're always your opponent's first target. Today on Titan Tactics, I'm going to show you how to get the most out of this unit and keep it alive long enough to win you the game. Stick around. The Vertus Praetors have an amazing stat line. In addition to the typical Custodes values, they have an unbelievable toughness of 6 with 4 wounds and 4 attacks. The most important stat is their movement of 14 inches. This speed is the biggest part of what makes them so deadly. They are equipped with an interceptor lance, which gives them strength 6, -3, and the ability to reroll wounds on the charge. That is another critical ability for the Praetors. It allows them to hunt vehicles and other tough targets. They can also take a Misericordia, but like all Custodes, I would avoid it. They also have the implacable Vanguard, which gives them a full 6-inch move when they advance. I've never advanced my bikes, but I guess it's nice to have if you need it. My favorite weapon on the bikes is the Hurricane Bolter. This is a rapid-fire 6, strength 4 bolter that can chew through nearly any unit when shot en masse. They can also take a salvo launcher, which has 2 different profiles. It's a D6 damage strength 8 kind of weapon that re-rolls wounds against vehicles, which is pretty good. It also has D3 shots with D3 damage that gets +1 hit against flyers. Overall, I don't really like the salvo launcher. It costs 15 points more than the Hurricane Bolter, and with so few shots, it rarely does as much damage. In addition, it's a heavy weapon, so you get -1 to hit when you're moving, and your bikes are always moving. I take the Hurricane Bolters to clear the chaff, and then I charge in and kill the bigger stuff. The Vertus Praetors are the fastest, best shooting, and best combat unit in the whole Custodes army. Like all Custodes units, they are strongest when taken as a larger unit. This allows them to take full advantage of the amazing Custodes stratagems. At 90 points per model, a full unit of 10 bikes is half your entire army. Your opponents also know this, and they know it's your best unit, and they are going to do everything they can to take them out. Taking a single large unit of bikes makes your enemy's target priority a lot easier. A single large unit also makes it challenging to control the board. Faster armies, or armies with more units, can keep their distance from you and have them chasing you all game. For that reason, I tend to aim for more of a medium-sized unit of 5 to 6 bikes. This allows me to have 1 or 2 decent-sized units and spread out my threats. I have also had success with a single larger unit of 8 paired with some smaller units of bikes or with some captains on bike. This is a riskier play overall, but it can have its rewards. Let me show you an example. I have 1 larger unit of 8 bikes here, and I have a smaller unit of 4. Now, if I needed to, this gives me the opportunity to start my larger unit in reserve. Now, this is a great way to keep them safe. Against this Death Guard army, there really isn't a whole lot that would threaten them if they're on the board. It's not a very good shooting army, and it's not going to do psychic at range on me. So let's just say I started them on the board. Now, if I was up against a heavier shooting army like Tau or Guard, I might want to put them in reserve. Now, these Poxwalkers can be pretty hard to remove. There's 60 of them here, and most armies are going to have trouble chewing through that many in multiple turns, let alone a single turn. And I need to get to Mortarion in the back. He is legitimately a threat to this army. Not just his psychic output and his mortal wound output, but his ability to chew through these units is very real. So we're going to clear out these Poxwalkers in the shooting phase. Now, this unit of 8 bikes is 96 shots. That is just a staggering number of shots. But we have a smaller unit here, and when you're doing your shooting phase, I feel you should always work from some of your more definitive units up to your less predictable. So this larger unit has the ability to split fire. I have 3 units of 20 enemies here, and it's not clear where I should put my shots. So I'm going to start with this first unit of 4, and we'll put 2 of them into one unit and 2 of them into the other unit. That's 24 shots each. Let's try that out and see where it goes. I have my first 24 shots at the first unit. Now these are going to be hitting on 2s and re-rolling 1s because of my nice shield captain on foot here. So let's see where this goes. All right, there's a good number of ones here. Looks like 5 ones. That's way more than you'd expect, but I get to re-roll them. Okay, in the end, I only missed 1. So 23 hits. These guys are only toughness 3. They could go up to toughness 4 if Typhus was around, or they could go up to even toughness 5 with a stratagem. But for now, we're going to keep them as toughness 3. It's kind of a stand-in for the majority of screens in the game, which are about toughness 3. So this is wounding on 3s. Okay, we missed with a good deal, but it looks to be about average. Okay, we missed with 7. Now these guys don't have armor saves, but they do have Disgustingly Resilient. So let's roll the saves and see how many they make. Okay, they made 4 saves. That's 12 that go down from the first unit. So 12 from the first unit of 20. And we can repeat that with the next bike and just assume they take about the same as well. So we've taken 24 down with our first 48 shots. So let me just remove those and we'll come right back. So we have 2 units that are down to 8 Poxwalkers each, and we have 1 unit still at 20. And we have 8 bikes left. So we could very easily put 2 bikes into the last 8 from 1 unit, 2 bikes into the other 8, and then 4 into the big unit of 20. And if the math continued to line up, we'd overkill all 3 units. So I won't bother rolling the dice for that. It's pretty clear that these bikes are easily going to clear out these 60 Poxwalkers. In fact, I think if there was another 20 here, we could probably easily deal with them as well. So you can see here, my bikes, they come down, and on the turn they get here, they're dealing with 80 typical infantry in a screened army. This can be really devastating to almost any army in the game. With the massive Poxwalker horde out of the way, it's time to charge in. I have my big unit of 8 bikes, and they're the ones I really need to make the charge. So let's roll it up and see if they make it. So they rolled a 5, and that's not quite enough. Let's just say we command point 1 of these. Okay, a 6. Yep, that just gets it. So we get this unit in, and we're going to leave just a little bit of space for our other unit. Now, again, thankfully, because these bikes have such huge bases, it's really easy to have the back rank be able to fight, even if they're strung back pretty far. And in fact, you want to make sure they're strung back into range of any of your aura effects, like your reroll 1s from this captain, or if you add a Vexilla giving you -1 to hit, that could be very valuable. We have this unit here, and it's going to charge in as well. Okay, rolled an 8. That looks to be what it needed. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, so these 4 bikes are in range as well. Now, I think it's pretty clear this is a lot of bikes coming at Mortarion, and it shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with them. But let's just take the first 8, and I'll show you what kind of damage they could do. Mortarion is notoriously difficult to remove. Even with 12 bikes here, it's not a guarantee. I really need Mortarion to die, so for 1 CP, I'm going to play Bringer of the Emperor's Justice. This is going to give me an extra hit on every 6 I roll to hit. If this was a Black Legion unit, it would be on every 4 up to hit. But you don't see Black Legion all that often right now. So keep that in your back pocket if you come up against Black Legion. But for here, it's just going to be on 6s to hit. Okay, this unit of 8 bikes is 32 attacks. And they're going to be hitting on 2s. Okay, and I get to reroll 1s for my captain. There's only a single 1 here. Okay, and it still failed. I guess something had to fail. There was a handful of 6s in here. 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's going to give us 5 extra dice. And again, hitting on 2s. And they all hit there. So that's 36 hits. That's pretty great. So let's try to wound now. Okay, I got 36 hits. I'm only strength 6 against Mortarion's toughness of 7. So I wound on 5s. But I get to re-roll wounds on the turns I charge. So this is pretty strong. Let's see it. Okay, we have a handful, nothing too special. It's 6, 7, 8, 9 wounds. So that's okay. It could have been a lot better. But thankfully, we get to re-roll all of these. And there's an opportunity to get a lot more wounds here. So we got 7 more. That's a very big difference. We basically doubled the number of wounds we had. Okay, we have 16 wounds here. These would normally be at -3 AP. Mortarion has a 4-up invulnerable save, so we're going to hope that he fails about half of these. He failed 9, just a little over half. It's a really good start. So D3 damage each. Let's roll those up. Okay, that's pretty good here. We have quite a few at 3 damage, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 damage. Now, 22 damage is pretty impressive. That still might not be enough to kill Mortarion. He does have a 5-up Feel No Pain, so let's take a look. Okay, this is 22 damage. Mortarion has 18 wounds, so he needs to pass 5 of these just to stay alive. So he passed 8 of them. So he's alive with 3 wounds left still. And now he has the opportunity to interrupt before my next unit of bikes, and he can fight that unit of bikes. But he is on his lowest profile, so he's not going to be fighting nearly as strong, and my remaining bikes are almost certainly going to be able to clear him out. But you could see here, they're not invincible. They did clear an enormous screen, and the Hurricane Bolter almost always does its job. But in combat, it does take quite a bit to take down a big unit like Mortarion. These bikes here are considerably more points than Mortarion. But you can see he's not going to really do much damage back, so they are still very powerful in combat. The Custodes can tank almost anything, but something that they are very vulnerable to is mortal wounds. Now, we've been picking on these Poxwalkers a great deal, but in the right situation, they can dish out a lot of mortal wounds. So here we have another unit of 20 Poxwalkers with their friend Typhus, and let's assume they have the psychic power Blades of Putrefaction on them. This is going to allow them to do mortal wounds on any 6s to wound. And with the Veterans of the Long War Stratagem, they can do it on any 5s and 6s. This is actually a real threat to this unit because every bike you kill is a substantial loss to my army. So this unit is about to come charging in, and it's going to really hurt me. These 20 Poxwalkers actually have 40 attacks. So we're going to fire Overwatch. And with these 5 bikes, we have a lot of Overwatch. But it gets even better than that. If you use the Unflinching Stratagem for only 1 CP, I get to Overwatch on 5s. This is a huge number of hits, and we might actually even clear out this unit. Let's take a look. I had 60 shots in Overwatch, hitting on 5s, re-rolling 1s, and I got 24 hits. That's pretty typical. Now, these Poxwalkers are actually at toughness 4 right now because of Typhus. Forced to wound. Okay, yeah, looks to be about average. We've got about 14 hits there. Okay, with 14 wounds, they have a 5-up Feel No Pain. Okay, they passed 3. That means they've lost 11. Now that is pretty crucial. That means the unit is only down to 9 models. And at 9 models, they don't get the +1 to hit that they normally get. So they're not going to do very much damage to me at all. Let's see what happens. These 9 Poxwalkers have 18 attacks, and they would normally hit on 4s, but they actually hit on 5s now because they're under 10. Okay, it was still really good hitting. Keep in mind, they could combine these with a Tallyman to reroll all hits, but they don't have that right now. So it's a good number of hits, and let's say they played Veterans of the Long War, so any 5s or 6 is a mortal wound. Wow, really solid. That's 5 mortal wounds taken on the unit, and it's also going to be 5 saves, but these are just 2-up saves. So I fail another 1. That was 6 wounds done to the unit. That's 1 entire bike killed and 1 that lost 2 wounds. You can see it's pretty impressive from such a small unit. But my bikes now could interrupt against Typhus here, and because we lost 1 bike, we could use Avenge the Fallen, and we will get 4 additional attacks back. So it'll be as though we didn't even lose a bike, and we'll be able to kill Typhus and the rest of this unit. So we did take a casualty, but it could have been a lot worse if we took that full unit. That Unflinching Stratagem, overwatching on 5s with the Hurricane Bolters, it's a devastating combination. It's clear that these bikes are an excellent unit, and the real standout about them is actually the Hurricane Bolter, in my opinion. But the Hurricane Bolter doesn't always work. Against something like this Knight with toughness of 8, the Hurricane Bolters are wounding on 6s. That's really not going to do a lot, even with the number of shots they have. And Knights can be particularly tough targets for the Custodes. They have multi-damage weapons that can chew through these guys at range, and then when you get into combat, their D3 damage stomps and their high strength means they don't have a lot of trouble dealing with them. Yes, we can hit them back, but all of our weapons are under strength 8, with very few exceptions. So what can we do against a Knight player? Well, one of the most important things you can do against Knights is stop them from shooting at you. And normally that's really hard to do because Knights can fall back and shoot. They can even step over units out of combat and then shoot. But something that most people don't take notice of is that they cannot walk over bike units, like our Custodes bikes here. So if we manage to charge and wrap around a Knight, we can prevent it from falling back, and it can stay in combat with us, and over a prolonged combat of 1 or 2 turns, the bikes will come out victorious, almost always. And it also means that the other Knights can't shoot at us while that's happening, and they're forced to either charge in or go and deal with something else. So when you're dealing with Knights, that's what you really want to try and do. Additionally, you might want to keep your units in reserve because the Knight player often doesn't have the board control to stop you from dropping and charging them directly. And of course, if they have a screen unit like some guard, you can clear those with your Hurricane Bolters. So in this case, we're going to charge, wrap around this Knight, and we can fight. So it looks to be about a 6-inch charge. We rolled an 8. It's going to allow us to get up pretty close to around it. Maybe not all the way around it, but our pylon move will certainly get us there. So yeah, we're not all the way around the Knight just yet. Now, we just want to get about within an inch here, but we won't touch the model. And now, when it's our turn to activate, we're just going to pile around. Now, we need to be cognizant of the fact that we might actually lose a few of these guys. What I like to do is spread their bases out widthwise so they cover as much ground as possible. So here we'd have to lose quite a few of our bikes in order to have him have enough space to fall back. Because the Custodes have so few units, and particularly so few units of Vertus Praetors, it's crucial that you could get across the board while controlling your enemy's ability to fight back against your units. Now, the Vertus Praetors are particularly good at doing this because of their 14-inch move. I'm going to show you how to get across the board here in just 2 turns and engage nearly every unit on the board here. Now, there is 1 unit of 6 bikes and another unit of 3. That's under 900 points. But for the AdMech here, we have almost 1,700 points of models. But despite the fact that the AdMech have a huge numerical advantage, I'll show you how the Vertus Praetors can actually win and probably take almost no casualties in the process. Let me give you an overview of the enemies they're up against. We have a unit here of 20 Electro Priests, pretty dangerous for their mortal wound ability. We have 3 Dragoons here who can also fight pretty well, and multi-damage weapons means that they're quite a threat. We have 2 smaller troop units here of Rangers and Vanguard. They're not much of a threat here, but they're here to screen the other units and hold objectives. We've got a very large and powerful Knight with a rapid-fire battle cannon and an Avenger Gatling cannon. These are very dangerous weapons that can take out these Vertus Praetors pretty quickly. We have a unit of 2 Castellan Robots, another pretty dangerous unit, and we have a unit of 6 Destroyers with Plasma Culverins. This unit can absolutely wipe out bikes with its 2 damage plasma. So a lot of this stuff is a major threat to our bikes. Well, we have a hammer and anvil deployment here, and my bikes are the full 24 inches up, but they're also deployed out of line of sight behind this large building here. This means not a single unit in the AdMech army can currently see them. And let's say the AdMech here went first. They've moved some of their models up to try and control the board and get in position. And now it's my turn. So let's start by moving our bikes, and we're going to move them towards the Dragoons. The first unit of bikes here is going to move up towards these Dragoons and get as close as they can. But one thing we always want to be sure to do is get within rapid fire with our Hurricane Bolters of another target. Thankfully, we have these Electro Priests here who are a perfect target for our Hurricane Bolters. Okay, next we have the unit of 3, and they're going to do the same thing, moving up. Now, it's a little trickier for them because they are only going to be just within 12-inch range. So let's just make sure we get them within range of rapid fire, or you're giving away a lot of shots. All right, we have all the bikes moved now, and they're all within rapid fire, but this unit of 3 is only just in rapid fire. So if we were to fire with the 6 first, and our opponent removed most of the models except the ones in the back, we'd be out of rapid fire range, and maybe even out of line of sight here because of these crates. So we'll fire with the first 3 first, which have 36 shots, and I rolled it off camera. They got about 8 killed models. So we can remove those 8 here. Now we have the remaining 6 bikes, and they have an impressive 72 Hurricane Bolter shots. If we had another 20 of these models, we'd almost guaranteed take them all out. So unfortunately for the AdMech player, they've just lost 20 of their Electro Priests just in my first shooting phase. Now we clearly would have had enough shots to take out this small unit here of Rangers, but they're crucial to our strategy for them to stay alive, so we're not going to shoot at them. The first thing we're going to do is charge with our unit of 3 bikes here against this unit, and we might as well declare it against both because we might want to pile in towards them depending on what we roll. So we'll roll the charge here, and we get a charge of 5. It's not too much, but it's enough to get the unit just up here within range. We're going to take every inch of movement we could get here because we want to move up the board. Next, what we're going to do is take our unit of 6, and they'll declare a charge against both. I'm not going to bother rolling for Overwatch for this unit. They're not going to be able to hurt my bikes. Okay, it's a 9-inch charge. That is a little more impressive. So we're going to take this first bike, and we're just going to get it within an inch to fight against the Dragoons. Now the rest of the bikes are going to take their full 9-inch move, but they want to be very cautious to also stay within an inch to fight. Now it's my pile-in phase, and I can pile in this bike here towards the nearest model. This will allow me to get another bike in, and you got to watch out for these spears here. If I'm careful, all my bikes except one are in range to fight against the Dragoons. I'm also in base contact, or just outside of base contact, with these Rangers here, which is critical. So we can fight with those 5 models, which have 20 attacks, and see if they're able to clear out these Dragoons. The 20 attacks are hitting on 2s. Okay, we missed with 3. That's exactly average. And we're going to be wounding here on 4s, but thankfully we get to reroll all failed wounds on the charge. So we missed a handful, maybe even a little more than average, but we've got that reroll, which allows it to always even out. Okay, great. So in the end, we've only missed with 3 there. Now, these only have a 4-up save, so with this -3 AP, unfortunately, they don't actually get a save. And they're only 6 wounds each, and these are D3 damage each. So we'll roll 3 at a time. We really should roll them 2 at a time, but it's a little too slow. So the first one took 3, 4, 5 damage. So the next dice kills it. Roll the next 3. 2, 4, 6, that exactly kills it. And then the remaining 8 or so definitely kill it. So all 3 of these have now died, and only 5 of my 9 bikes attacked. Clearly, we could have taken out a lot more. Now, it's crucial that we use this consolidation move to touch and lock in against these models. But what I'm also doing is leaving a bit of an opening here for my last unit of 3 bikes, because now they get to activate and pile in and consolidate. So it's a 6-inch move, and they could just touch this unit. Now, because they touch them on the consolidation, they can't fight. So there's no risk of us harming this unit, and we're currently trapping 2 models. So even if we had maybe killed one, they couldn't have removed them both. So let's say they fight back. They're not going to be able to do much damage. Even if they manage a wound, which is unlikely, it's not going to kill a bike. Okay, so in my first turn, I've removed a unit of 3 Dragoons and 20 Electro Priests. I'm now locked in combat and can't be shot at. Let's go into the AdMech turn. At the start of the AdMech turn, this gigantic knight here, which can't shoot me now, is going to move up a little closer to maybe hopefully pull off a charge in a future turn. So it's got a big 12-inch move. But even with its big move, it's still about an 11-inch charge away. This gun line here, which is pretty scared of me, can't really get any further back. They're already at the far edge of the board. So all they can do is wait. In the fight phase, this unit in the back of 3 bikes can fight and take out these 5 models. So let's say they just went down. Okay, so all my bikes are here. It's the end of their turn. That takes it now into my turn, and I get another 14-inch move. This is going to take me right up close and almost in contact with this screen of Vanguard here. So we're going to put our bigger unit of bikes here on the side, and we're going to put our smaller unit of 3 bikes kind of protecting the flank here against this knight. So on my second turn now, you can see my bikes have moved over 42 inches when really they should have only had 28 inches of move. That's the value of this slingshot maneuver. Not only does it get you up the board a lot faster, but in this case, it protected me from shooting along the way. Now again, it's my shooting phase, and I'm very, very easily going to clear out this screen of 10 Vanguard. I'm also going to be able to probably take out over half of these destroyers. Despite the fact that they have a high toughness and 3 wounds, they don't have a particularly good save. Now it's my charge phase, and I'm going to charge first with the bigger unit of bikes, because if I do lose a bike, at least this unit will still be very combat effective. Additionally, if I need the extra attacks, I could always use Avenge the Fallen, and I'll get the maximum return on my investment for that strategy. So we'll charge both the Castellan Robots and the Destroyers with this unit of 6 bikes. These Destroyers don't have a whole lot to lose, so they're going to overcharge their shots, and they have D6 each. So let's just try and roll that up. So we got 5, 5, and 3. So the first one, 5 attacks. It does die, but it got 2 wounds. Or sorry, 2 hits, 1 wound, and then I get my save. Okay, I did manage to save. The second one doesn't die and does manage to get a few hits. Okay, 2 wounds on me. Okay, 2 wounds down on a bike. And the third one only gets 2 shots. It does die, but it doesn't hit. And I rolled the Castellan Robots, and they only managed to get 1 wound. So I have 1 bike that's down to 1 wound left, but I still haven't lost a bike yet, and they've lost 2 of their destroyers in Overwatch. There was really no reason not to overcharge there. They were going to die in combat either way. So now I roll my charge. It's an 8-inch charge, pretty good. That's enough to get around back and tag these robots as well as the destroyers. Now again, there's no need to go into base contact because we want our pylon to give us a little more move. Now the last 3 bikes, they're going to charge both units as well. And an 8 is going to be enough. And they're going to position themselves as a screen for my bigger unit here. So they want to take their full coherency, and they're going to try to block this passage. You see, this knight actually isn't able to get through on this side or on that side. So my big unit of bikes can't be charged by the knight. Now I have a choice. I can either try and wrap these units and not kill them so that I can't be shot by the knight next turn, or I can try and clear them out right now and hope the knight isn't able to do too much damage in the shooting phase. I think we're going to just try to take down these units, and let's roll it up and see if we're able to kill them. Now with all 6 of these bikes still alive, and then the other unit of 3, we're going to very easily be able to clear out these 2 Castellan Robots and this 1 destroyer. So let's just say they go down. Okay, with them out of the way, I get to pile in, and I can just move a little bit up, and I'm trying to get in position for a maneuver I'm going to try next turn. So it's the knight player's turn, and they're not actually able to charge my other unit of bikes because they can't get their base through. What they're going to hope is that their guns are able to destroy enough of the screen unit and get through to the back unit. But he's going to have to kill at least 2 of these bikes to get through, and he might not actually do that. Let's roll it up and see what happens. He has 12 shots from his Avenger Gatling cannon, and he didn't get the best hits. Now, he is going to be wounding here on 4s. Okay, so he has 4 wounds. That's pretty respectable, but I have my 4-up invulnerable saves. Oh, and that's exactly what can happen. I passed all 4. Sometimes the Custodes just get hot with their saves. We have the rapid-fire battle cannon, 7 shots, perfectly average. Again, hitting on 3s. Missed 2, and now these are going to be wounding here on 3s. Okay, not the best rolling. Only 2, but again, I get my 4-up saves. All right, I pass 1, fail 1. It's D3 damage. 3, not bad. He's taken 1 wound, or them down to just 1 wound. Now, there's a few small arms on this knight here, and he might get lucky with a flamer or with one of the stubbers to actually take an extra wound, but it's pretty unlikely with my good armor save. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to even kill 1. Now, he's going to declare a charge, and he'll charge the unit of 3 bikes. There's no need for him to charge the second unit because he's not going to be able to attack it. So he charges, and boom, now he's in contact. Now, he's pretty happy here at least. He's going to be able to, in combat, probably clear out this unit. But I need these bikes to be alive because let's assume there's more AdMech army still remaining. I actually want to kill this knight before it has the chance to kill any of my bikes. And this is where the Custodes' most famous and potentially most dangerous stratagem comes into play, called Stooping Dive. For 3 CP, I get to charge at the end of my opponent's charge phase, and most importantly, I get to fight first. So if I successfully charge this knight, I can probably kill it before it even fights me. So let's roll my charge. All right, rolled an 8. That's going to be enough with my move around here to get all of my bikes into combat because of my pile-in move. And of course, again, if you don't base the knight, you will still get to pile in, and that'll get you a few more into range. Now I'm fully surrounding this knight, so even if it doesn't die, it won't actually be able to shoot me next turn, which is really crucial. But with 9 bikes here, it's almost guaranteed to go down. Let's do the attacks from the first 6, since they get to attack first. So that's 24 attacks. I've got my 24 attacks here, hitting on 2s. Okay, I see a few 1s in there, just 2. That is 1 better than the average or so, maybe 2. And here we go, wounding on 5s, but I get to re-roll these wounds, which is crucial. Okay, it looks like we got about an average roll there. Now, we've got a ton to re-roll here. And let's see what we can get. Yeah, pretty great. These guys are pretty reliable because of that ability to re-roll wounds, so this is not uncommon. Because of the -3 AP, this knight only has a 6-up save now. Okay, it did really well and passed 4 saves, but it still took 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. If I get just above odds, we're going to be able to kill this knight. So let's see what happens with our damage. Okay, looks pretty close. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We just killed this knight before it was able to hurt any of my models. Let's see, does it explode? No. So at the end of the AdMech player's turn, remember, my turn is coming up next. I get to move, shoot, and charge again, and I still have all 9 of my bikes, and I just killed twice the amount of points on the board. This is the way you play the Vertus Praetors. You get maximum efficiency from them in every shooting phase, maximum efficiency in every fight phase, never let anyone shoot at you, and then charge and get an additional fight phase that you wouldn't have otherwise had in your opponent's turn, all while moving up the board at lightning fast speed. When you play the bikes this way, there's almost nothing any army can do to stop you. The Vertus Praetors are an amazing unit, but the trick to playing them well is keeping them alive long enough to do some real damage, and having them in the right position to threaten the targets you need. With the Vertus Praetors, you really have to be thinking 2 turns ahead and planning where you need them to be. Check out the next episode of Titan Tactics, where I'm going to be going over the leaders of the Custodes army, the Shield Captains. Thanks for watching.